just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke In A Bar. But before we get into it, tomorrow night, 6 p.m, that's Wednesday, Father's Day drop. That is right. Girl, dad. Then you've got this shirt here, daddy's girl, matching shirts, how good. And then if you've got a little son, you got big bloke and little bloke shirts for the young fella. So check the website for sizes. I think it's ages 10, 12 and 14 or even just 10? Younger, even younger? 8?
It goes from size 2 up to size 10 or 12.
Size 2 up to size 10 or 12. Even I didn't know. That's how much range we give you people. So Father's Day, 6 p.m, be there. Very limited amount, similar to the hoodies that went in, I think, 7 minutes. So make sure to be there. Get them for Father's Day at Wednesday, 6 p.m. They will be sure to be out to you before Father's Day. But with that out of the way, I've got the great Sam Thaiday. How you going, brother?
How you going? I thought you were going to call me daddy there for a second.
Oh, no, sir. I can't get around the daddy chat. Can you get around the daddy chat?
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, so weird.
Oh, my God. Mate, how you been?
I've been good. Thank you very much, brother.
How's the... Now, little birdie told me, and that little birdie may have been you about 20 minutes ago, you're playing in a grand final.
Yeah, I know. Grand final, Sanford Stags taking on the Burpengary Jets. The Burpengary Jets, they're a bit stacked, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Salary cap?
Well, I'm throwing question marks out there. Yeah. So you got Luke Capewell's playing for them. Liam Georgetown. Remember Liam Georgetown?
Yeah, Redcliffe.
Jolie Thompson's playing for them as well.
Big Jolly T.
Yeah, they're stacked.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit of investigation into mate, that is stacked. What, 3 ex-NRL players? Are they all on the same side?
They're all...
As in like right side or left side?
I'm unsure.
Yeah.
Because last time we played them, only Lukey played.
They brought him in for the grand final.
Nah, so I think because Jolie's working FIFO at the moment, so he can only play whenever he's in town, but hopefully he's away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you more nervous for? Grand final local league or the 06 grand final?
Oh, very, very different. Very different. I think like 06 GF... I was a young kid, mate. I was only 21 and kind of was just rolling with the punches. I was hanging around all the big boys, and I knew that they were going to do their job. I just had to do mine. Like you had, that was Webby's last game for us. He retired after that, but you had big Petro in the front row as well. He had Thorny there as well. You had blokes like Dane Carlaw and Corey Parker, Casey Maguire. So I was just a young kid just hanging around the big boys at that point in time, probably thinking that I'd play in a grand final every year with the team and the squad we had. But it was a great. 06 was a cracking year for myself.
Yeah, I still remember getting called back in to hold the pads for you boys grand final week.
Yeah.
So I literally can say I held the pads for grand final week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there. I was part of the squad.
Yeah, you all came down and we did a bit of a training run and stuff like that. It was good.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my claim to fame. Held the pads for the grand final winning side in 2006. Mate, how you been? What do you been? Obviously, you do your media stuff. What's been going on in the world of Sammy Thaiday?
A lot of fingers, a lot of pies, mate. Eating them as well.
Yep, me too.
But no, mate. Just trying to find balance in life after footy. Doing some stuff with Channel 9, which is absolutely a lot of fun because it's a foot in the door. It also means that I have all access passes to all the games, which is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing some stuff with the Broncos as well. Got an ambassador role with them. So I call myself the politician. I shake hands, I kiss babies.
Yeah, so you're obviously doing your media commitments. Anything outside of media that you're enjoying at the moment?
I've been doing a few different speaking engagements, which is always good. I'm in the same kind of industry as yourself. I've got my foot in the door in the podcasting realms. Sitting on one at the moment, which I've already released a few eps back in the day called We Are Human. And for me, that was a chance and opportunity for me to tell the story behind the story of young Sam Thaiday coming through the ranks and just that transition after footy, the struggle of lack of identity, almost institutionalized in a sense that you're told where to be, what to do, what to wear. You are definitely babied throughout your whole career, and it you talk about the real world after rugby league, and for rugby league players it is the real world because you have to do shit on your own.
Absolutely.
So doing that one, I'm doing a sports one as well with a couple of mates, Michael Atkinson and Shad Wicker. It's called Saint Sinner winner with Sam Thaiday. It's a chance for us to talk a bit of smack about sport, but a lot of the time I lean back to rugby league and what I know, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a great space, and mate, that's why I appreciate you having me on your podcast.
Oh, mate,
it's a banger. It's a banger. It's number one.
Sam Thaiday,
it's never been beaten,
brother.
actually.
Oh, mate, anytime, any place. It's funny because, like, obviously I come up to the game on the weekend, and once you experience that whole, you be at this place at this time, I was like, oh my God, like, I forgot what this is like. You don't have to even think.
Yeah.
You roll off the plane, you've got you've got to be here, you'll get picked up, even though the guy didn't turn up, but not the Broncos guy. The actual guy we paid literally didn't turn up, but it was just that experience of like completely taking away your decision making.
Yeah.
You just go with the flow, really.
I kind of understand it in a sense that they want your full focus to be on playing a game at the end of the day. And I know that's their product. That's kind of you ride the highs and lows of the success. So if we can take a little bit of that burden away from you and help you out as much as possible, we will. And it's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's bad because, when you do leave, you do find yourself kind of, actually, I have to read my emails.
Yeah,
I have to open them and reply to people.
Yeah, I still struggle with that.
I have to answer a phone call. Really?
Mate.
In all honesty, like those first kind of couple of years out of rugby league were a roller coaster and a half. If anything, I think my wife probably wanted to kill me. She was like you are. I was cramping her style. And she had all of her ducks in a row, and she knew what she was doing around the house, especially the routine around the kids, and getting them to school, and they go to bed at this time, and here I was interrupting the whole ecosystem because I was a foreign entity essentially. But trying to find balance now, man. I try to, as much as I can, be around home because I like going to, the other week, Gracie, she made the school team to go and do districts athletics, and I was lucky that I had the day off and I could go and watch her do that. My daughter Elsie plays netball on a Saturday, and I think I've got the balance right that I can go and watch her play most games on a Saturday. And I think that's the hardest thing is trying to find that balance, trying to find yourself. But slowly getting there. It's a journey, and I'm along for the ride.
And so, speaking of rugby league, what are your thoughts on this season? And you obviously are one of the best Broncos to play. What are your thoughts on the boys? It's
been great to see the way they've grown and developed. A couple of inclusions of some superstars really, really helped the team out. But again, having the foot in the door and still doing some stuff at the Broncos, I can kind of see what a little bit that goes on behind the scenes. There's a great connection there with them. They're all great mates.
Yeah.
I can see their games have developed. They're trying new things. I'm super excited.
Yeah,
I'm daring to believe is what I'm doing. Yeah. There was points throughout the season where I watched them. They kind of went away from what was working for them, and they've kind of righted all those things. And I love watching them play now. I love that chance and opportunity to go and watch every game. And be there, and I'm one of those fans now. I'm one of those guys that hangs out in the change rooms after, and I've slowly crept my way back in a sense that now I sit in the locker room when they finished, and a few of the guys want to talk to me after a game, which is cool. But no, I'm loving just seeing what the Broncos are doing this year, and I think the comp as a whole has been. It's been amazing to see the rise of the Wars. May I say the Wars? I'll jump on that bandwagon and call them the Wars. I think they've been brilliant. You look at Penrith at the top, dominant. Yeah. They've had their team cherry picked over the last couple of seasons, but they're still a strong team. Like the Newcastle Knights of late, holy wow!
How good!
It's been good.
Steel City.
Yeah. It's given Joey a little bit of a tingle, and it's not his neck anymore. So it's good to see. And I still will always be a Cowboys supporter. I'm still whipping them home.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them get in the 8, but rugby league as a whole has been brilliant this year.
And I just read here, I didn't actually know this, mate. You were born in New South Wales.
Yeah, why are you bringing that up for, mate?
I just look. These blokes about the hard hitting questions, mate.
Yeah.
It's a hard hitting questions here.
Not by choice.
Not by choice.
Yeah. My both my parents were in the Air Force, so
Yeah.
they were based down here at Wagga Wagga, and I was born at Borkham Hills Private Hospital, and then Dad got posted to Townsville, so I was about 4 when he moved up to Townsville, and so I learnt the game of rugby league in Townsville.
Yeah.
And there was no, as soon as the Cowboys came into the competition, there was no choice. Like, you had to be a Cowboy supporter, you had to be a rugby league fan, and if you weren't, you were looked at very weirdly.
Yeah.
I learnt my trade in Townsville.
Yep.
Played for Townsville Brothers from under 13s, under 12s to under 17s.
Was under 12s the first year you played footy, or did you play earlier?
No, it was kind of I played at school when I was 11, and then under 12s was my first year playing rugby league. I wanted to be an Olympian.
What did you do before that?
I did athletics, mate. So
Okay,
I did
what events?
The
What
Upper Ross Little Athletics Club. We were the Panda Bears.
Okay.
Yeah.
What events were you proficient in?
Look at me. What do you think?
Shot put?
Shot put, discus, javelin. They were my jam. All the throwing events.
I don't want to say it, bro.
In saying that too, I was pretty good at the 1500 meter.
No way.
Walk.
The walk. You got me.
I love the walking events. But I can still remember as a young kid. I think I might have been my last year of primary school. So I was 12, and I made the North Queensland team for long jump.
No way.
Yeah. So the gun guy, his name was James Murphy.
Yeah.
He was absolute gun, and he 3 fouls.
Oh,
And
see you later.
I ended up winning, and I ended up representing North Queensland for long jump that year. Long jump, discus, and shot put. Javelin was my jam. I loved javelin as a kid, but also I think I still have, and this is only because the Upper Ross Little Athletics Club, it ceased to exist. And that's why we went and played different sports.
No
so
way.
my older brother went and played soccer. I went and played rugby league.
So we've been robbed of an Olympian.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I still have the under 8 60-meter hurdles record. Yeah, at Upper Ross. So I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, Carl Vanderkuyp, he was lucky that I went to rugby league. Yeah.
Was it love at first game for rugby league, or did it take a while to grow into it?
I think my mum and dad were happy that I started playing rugby league because it was an outlet, it was a focus for me. Like, I was a bit of a rager as a kid.
Does it seem like you, Sammy?
No, not at all. I had an older brother who was super competitive at everything. Like, Ruben made the Queensland soccer team. Ruben made the Queensland baseball team. He hadn't even played baseball before. He made the team. He was just an absolute freak when it came to little athletics as well. He's fast, high jumper, long jumper, all those things. So, like, I was the little brother. I wanted to beat my big brother, and sometimes that brought on a lot of rage from myself. We owned any piece of sporting equipment you could name. We owned it, and I think that was tactical from my parents because they wanted me and my brother outside. And it was just the 2 of us for a long period of time. I think I was 8 when my younger 2 brothers came along. Yeah. So I always just wanted to beat Ruben, and if I couldn't beat him, I tried to beat him up. So there was there was holes in the wall in the backyard, like in the fibro sheeting, because we were playing cricket. We couldn't play with a tennis ball. Like, we had to play with a proper cricket ball.
Yeah, wow.
We played softball in the backyard. I was always the goalkeeper. He was always the striker.
Yeah, same when I was growing up.
What else? There was a tennis court around the corner from our house. We always paid to go in there.
Yeah, of course.
No, we didn't. I smashed a lot of tennis rackets. So I think Mum and Dad were pretty happy that I found rugby league because it was a chance for me to channel the high energy that I had and that competitive nature. It was okay to, like, hit people, like tackle people out there on the field. So, I absolutely loved it.
And did you excel immediately, or like in,
Oh, not necessarily. I think, again, from like playing a lot of different sports as a kid, I had good hand-eye from, playing soccer with my brother. I could kick the ball pretty well. So there were some skills there that I'd already started to develop. And then I think as I learnt the game, I just got better and better. But for me, I made North Queensland pretty consistently from like under 13s all the way through to under 17s, whether I was representing at a club level or at a school level. But like I didn't make a Queensland team until under 17s, and then Open Schoolboys.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So I didn't make an Australian team ever as a young kid. The first time I ever represented Australia was 2006.
Far out.
Yeah.
Far out. Okay, so you're coming through the grades. You're making the rep side. So are you thinking rugby league could be a path for me, or are you just like, I just do it because I love it?
Oh, like it was probably a turning point for me. Like you have your sliding door moments, and I was probably in grade 10, and like the opportunity to leave school, get a trade, and like I wasn't the smartest kid at school. Like I was there pretty much for the social gathering of it. I really liked doing all my hands-on stuff at school. I was doing metalwork at that time. I was doing building construction. I was doing some woodwork as well, and really loved that side of things, and probably was looking down more of a path of doing that. And I had a teacher at school called Mr. Bartlett, George Bartlett. He played for the North Sydney Bears, played for the North Queensland Cowboys as well. And he pretty much I was umming and ahhing and didn't know what to do. And he said, well, I think you're a pretty handy footy player. If you give it a crack and have a go, I think you could make something of it. And like he made a bit of a commitment to me at that point in time where if I kept on showing up, he would keep on showing up. So I'd go to training early in the morning before school and do weights in the gym and do all this extra training stuff. And he and I like clashed one day because he would always push me and get the best out of me. Yeah. And I think that like everyone's got that one school teacher at some point in time that did something to really spark something in each kid. And Georgie was that guy for me. And I almost come to fisticuffs with him one day at school. Yeah. Just because I knew he was pushing the right buttons, but he was pushing my buttons, and I just didn't like where he was going with it. And not necessarily that he was saying that I was a waste of talent. He was saying that I was wasting my talent. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I took it the opposite way, and that's probably why I wanted to go fisticuffs with him. But in saying that, if it wasn't for Georgie and just Georgie showing up for me, it could have been a very, very different path. And he was probably one of the first ones to console me after not making the Australian Schoolboys team. Yeah. Because we had a pretty dominant Queensland team that year, and we had a lot of guys that went on to play for Australia that year. But my name wasn't called out at the end of it. Yeah. Guys like Tommy Leroy-Lars and Ben Hennett. The omelette, extra cheese. Those guys made the team, and I was just like, I was really bummed about it. And he was one of the first guys to console me. And it was actually not like coming back not long after that. Schoolboys is where I signed with the Broncos actually. So
the story as it's told. What is the actual story of Wayne Bennett? I don't want to spoil it. Wayne Bennett resigning you. What's the real story?
You want the GST? Or
I want the GST. Give me everything, baby.
That's the best thing about stories and being storytellers now, like you and I are. We could just say whatever we want. Yeah, whatever. But the story goes, once upon a time, we were playing a under-17s match against New South Wales' curtain raiser for State of Origin. Wayne was still the coach at that point in time. And we were playing at the old ANZ Stadium. And their team, New South Wales team, was stacked. I'm saying like Keith Galloway, Tommy Leroy-Lars, Sonny Bill Williams. I think out of that New South Wales team, I think their whole forward pack at one point in time had played an NRL game. Wow. And I think for our Queensland team, our Queensland under-17s team that year, Paul Ayton, Neville Costigan, and myself
Nev.
were the only 3 guys that went on to play NRL.
Wow.
Out of that Queensland team, and we got absolutely pumped. And there was a fight in the game, and I pretty much was like, oh, well, the fight's on. I've got to hit someone. And I threw one punch at Tommy Leroy Lars, and he didn't throw any back. I was like, okay, sweet. That's all good. But, I kind of stood out at that point in time too, because they had the long flowing locks, and as some people used to call me, dog balls, because I stand out like them. Can't hide anywhere. Wayne was standing in the tunnel watching the game before Origin, and pretty much not long after that sent Cyril Connell and Paul Bunn up to Townsville to sign me as a Broncos player.
And was there any interest from the Cowboys? Because your heart was with the Cowboys initially.
Oh, as a young kid, like I played for Brothers, and the old stadium, it's had a fair few names. Dairy Farmers, it was Stockland Stadium at one point in time, but Brothers Junior Rugby League is in the shadows of that stadium. And I can still remember seeing it. I just wanted to play on that field. I wanted to play for the Cowboys, but I did a couple of junior development camps and school holidays and stuff like that. I remember going to a camp once, and Matty Scott was there, Mango was there, Brenton Bowen was there.
No way.
So all their young development guys that were coming through, and they were kind of offering scholarships at that point in time at the end of the camp, and just none came my way. And it was pretty deflating as a young kid. Again, local talent. And this was probably a time where the Cowboys' focus was elsewhere instead of looking in their own backyard. They were trying to become a successful team, and get some external talent to come to the Cowboys to try to win games and win premierships and all those types of things. When you have a look at the local talent pool that left that area. You got like Nate Miles, who was from Cairns. You had Dallas Johnson. You had Billy Slater. You had myself. You had Neville Costigan, who was from Mackay. You had all these guys that were in that North Queensland catchment area that just all they missed.
Far out.
And they all went to different clubs. And that was that decade of dominance with Queensland. A lot of those guys were North Queensland guys. They came out of those areas that could have, the Cowboys could have had a gun squad that came through all together playing footy, and it just didn't happen. And then, I ended up signing a Broncos contract in the car park of Dairy Farmer Stadium.
No way.
Yeah, with Cyril Connell and Paul Bunn. So it's just you talk about under the nose of the Cowboys.
God.
Yeah, and that's the biggest in your face that you can.
Going into behind enemy lines, literally.
Yeah,
signing a young talent.
Yeah, standing on the line pretty much.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so Cyril Connell, obviously, for people that may not know, or the younger audience, he's essentially the best scout Broncos ever had. Yeah. And Paul Bunn was also a huge reason why your generation came through and killed it. I think he went to Melbourne. I'm not sure if he's
still at the Storm, and you look what he's done at the Storm.
Exactly.
So he's been at the Storm, I'm going to say, for almost 10 years now.
He left 08, 09?
Yeah, so you got to think he's been at the Storm for 10 years, about that, and they haven't dropped off.
Yeah.
So you can see how he recruits, the way that he thinks about recruiting the guys that he gets in. So he knows and understands rugby league players, and he was Cyril's right-hand man forever. Because the funny thing about Cyril is Cyril would go to all the junior rugby league carnivals throughout Queensland, whether it's regional or whatever it is, but would never fly.
Yeah.
So Bunny would have to drive him everywhere. He knew, Cyril knew that we had to stop in at this town to go to this bakery to see Martha, who made the best pies. And he had his, he just knew this is the way we're going. It's the long way around, but we're going to go there.
Yeah.
And, but his eye for talent, some of the guys that he signed at the Broncos were absolutely amazing. I think the last kind of 2 or 3 guys was Ben Hunt, Andrew McCulloch.
Yeah, wow.
So,
Yeah, his track record, Cyril's track record is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I would love to see a Cyril Connell's best team ever. So the people that he recruited to the Broncos, what that team would be. Because it'd be hard to make it.
Mate.
Yeah.
The guys that he recruited, it was insane. Insane. And also, to think Paul Bunn has gone on to do what he's done it just shows you that the knowledge that he passed to Paul.
Yeah.
As there's no denying that Melbourne's time over the last 10 to 15 years have been the best at recruitment. Easily the best.
Yeah.
I still remember Bunn's house, Paul Bunn's house.
Yeah.
And like all the guns used to stay there.
Yeah. So we had there was myself at one stage. There was myself, Neville, Darius lived there as well.
Yeah.
There was a few rats that lived there too. Good blokes though. Remember Ashley Alberts lived there.
Remember the young Kiwi half that came over quite young and he just got homesick and bounced? He was super talented.
Jordan. I can't even think of his name.
Mate, he was so talented, but he just obviously got homesick.
Yeah.
Remember Michael Bond? How good he was coming through the grade?
Yeah, Bondi. Yeah. You also had I'm trying to think. Macca lived there for a while. Hunty lived there. Yeah. We had a fair few come through there. John Torrio.
Oh, John, the great John. Oh, man.
And then we had just guys just come and drop in and stay there.
Yeah. So you get signed. So this would have been 2001 or 2?
End of 2002.
So 2002. So they've just gone Premiership, 2000, yeah. 2000. So you're rolling into like one of their most hectic squads.
Gun squads.
Ever.
Yeah, yeah.
What's it like?
Like a blessing and a curse at the same time. So I graduated high school 2002 November 1st. I've got to be in Brisbane for pre-season training. All my mates from school headed off to Airlie Beach for schoolies. That's all the North Queenslanders go to Airlie Beach, and I was on my way down to Brisbane to chase and pursue a dream and rock up to training, and I'm in the Colts squad to start off with, and we got some.
Was it West then?
No, so that year they decided for the Colts were going to play in the Toowoomba A grade comp.
Okay.
And there was a few gun players in there at that time, so that it was Neville Costigan, Ben Hannett, myself. We all kind of came through as those young forwards, those next upcoming young forwards. But that was where I looked at the squad and went, I'm never going to play first grade here ever.
Yeah.
Like Andrew G was still at the club at that point in time. Gordy was still at the club at that time.
Yeah.
You had Petro, Shane Webke. So like they're your established forwards that are there. Like they're playing first grade. You can tick that box. They're playing first grade. Then the next tier under that is Dane Carlaw, Carl Webb, Corey Parker, Casey Maguire, and then that's that next young group of Brad Myers as well was there at that point in time. Big Red. That was that next crew, and then like the next crew under that was like your Queensland Cuppers who were kind of busting their butts to try and get in there. Your Darren Maps, those hard guys that were toiling away in Queensland Cup, hoping and happy to play a game here and there. Yeah. And then we were under those guys. So you go from the top of the tree in high school, where you're the big dog at school,
big dog.
high fiving everyone as you walk around the school, to like you're at the bottom of the tree.
Yeah.
And like I literally had to bust my ass. I think John Dixon was our coach at the time. Old Papa Smurf for the Colts team, and I got through that kind of first little period of pre-season training and like hating it.
Yeah.
Like this was the hardest. Yeah. This was like
4100s.
Yeah. Well, let's piggyback one another around a 400-meter track. Why? Because it's hard. Yeah. No other reason. Like doing ABCs. I hated doing ABCs.
No sports science at all.
No.
Just run till you spew. That's pretty much it.
Exactly. If they're not laying on the ground after, you haven't had a crack. But we were just like doing hills like around Red Hill. Like I can remember, like my back is still on Sorrel Street in Red Hill.
It's still in the Gap Run.
Yeah. Oh, the Gap. The Gap was another one.
I used to feel so sorry for you big fellas in the Gap Run.
Yeah.
Because I'm a whippet. I'm going, this is easy.
Yeah.
Whereas you boys are just arse out.
Like you talk about struggling uphill. I was struggling going downhill, like just trying to slow myself up because I didn't want to end up in the bushes. And then you had Wayne hiding in the bushes too.
The good old Wayne hiding in the bushes. Yeah.
But I never thought I was going to play first grade at the Bronx, and I literally busted my ass. I was like super homesick. I was like, this is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, what have I signed? Like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah, yep.
Like, people say, oh, he could be digging holes. At that point in time,
It's easier than
I
that.
was happy
Yeah.
to be digging holes.
Yeah.
But like, trained pretty hard and did well enough that in the coming back after that Christmas break, Kevy was coaching the Clydesdales, which was our reserve grade team at our Queensland Cup team at the time. And he goes, mate, I want you to come train with us. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, quickly promoted from Colts into that Q Cup squad, and I was pretty pumped about that. And then, as the season kind of rolled on, playing a few Clydesdale games, Origin rolls around, and then I finally get a crack. I get my first year. First year. So, just trying to think, July the 11th, 2003. Suncorp Stadium would take on the Bulldogs.
No way.
So I was like,
The Bulldogs when they were gun too.
just turned 18 on the 12th of June. So I was like
No way.
18 in 1 month or
In the
less than 1 month.
forwards too.
Yeah. First run, I think I picked out Marco Mealy and ran straight at him. Oh, bad choice. Got a penalty, kicked it out.
Yeah.
Second run, right at Marco Mealy.
Oh.
So I think I was a bit batshit crazy from the start, mate. So, but yeah, for just that, like first and foremost, the adversity of moving down as a 17-year-old away from home. A big family environment in Townsville, to literally living with an elderly couple at Capera, Ed and Anita Mealy. They were absolutely brilliant. I appreciate them offering up their home for me to stay there for a few months. It was brilliant. But again, it was more, they were offering up their house more than anything because it wasn't a home. Like I missed that home environment.
Yeah,
I
for
missed
sure.
that, people being around and, that kind of whole homesickness thing was massive for me.
Community kind of vibe of the home.
Yeah, and that was another comment. I had a conversation with Mum when I went home at Christmas. I was like, "This is like, I don't want to do this." And she's like, "You make your family where you are."
Yeah.
And I think that's why those guys that were at the club, the Donald Malones, the Ian Lacey's, those guys. Man, I ended up like couch surfing. I had a bed at a house where I could go and sleep, but I was like, I just wanted to be around people. So those guys really took me under their wing and.
Yep.
I hung out with them a fair bit, and that really helped me out heaps too.
Okay, so that first debut though, do you remember how you found out?
It was just that training one day. I think David Stagg, he debuted in the same game as me. Just trying to think too, who else? Tony Duggan.
Tony Duggan, best rig in the game.
Yeah.
He was so shredded.
He was shredded.
Holy.
Yeah. Most caps ever for the Clydesdales. Yeah.
He taught me all the rotten ways.
Yeah.
He taught me how to be a Keith, Tony Duggan.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's true, actually. He probably did. But, yeah, it was just that training. And, it's such a blur. And, like that whole week went so fast that like the game day went fast. Everything went like weirdly fast.
Was it the before Suncorp Stadium? It had been built yet?
No, we're at Suncorp. Yeah. We were back there at that point in time because we moved back there in 2003.
Yeah, okay. 03, yep.
Yeah. So it was still a sandpit at that point in time.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's a beautiful stadium now. The grass is immaculate.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Easily the best rugby league stadium. So is there anything outside of running an O'Mealy, is there anything you remember from the game that
I got injured.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, high ankle sprain, first game. So, like, super bummed about that.
Yeah.
But, like, I knew from that point in time, like, I can do this. Like, I got a taste. I want in now. I was 100% in at that point in time.
Yeah. Because, like, before you play first grade, you almost give them this, like, oh, they're going to be, like, superhuman strong and how am I going to mix it with them? And then that first contact, you're usually like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why it was good that I ran at Mark Emilio because he was the up and coming big dog at that point in time. Yeah, so he had the shaved head, he looked mean as, and I swear he had deep heat on his head.
Oh, mate, 100%. Okay, so 2004 rolls around, you have 8 appearances that season, and then obviously 14 appearances in 2005. What do you reckon you learnt the most in those first kind of 2 years as a rookie first grader?
Patience,
and
hard work. Yeah, it was kind of because we had those gun young guys there at that point in time. I got Wayne, he didn't want to play favourites. So we were on a bit of a rotation. So, you'd get your crack at first grade if you were good enough. You got to stay in. If you you did your job but you weren't brilliant, it'd then be Neville's turn. He'd have a crack, and then it'd be Tommy. So, that was kind of tough, and I had to, bide my time a little bit, sharpen my tools a little bit. Okay, what can I do that these two guys can't? All right, well, maybe if I work on my passing game. Something as simple as I worked on my bump and quick play the ball.
The quickest play ball in the game, baby.
Yeah, so then that became one of my weapons. It's all right, sweet. So, I could do a chip and chase, but I wouldn't because I'd be hooked straight away. But I was like, all right, well, what's the thing I can bring to the team? All right, well, we've got some gun players. If I can get a quick play the ball for them so they can be front foot, well, let's go. Yeah. I learned to sharpen my tools, work on things that I knew that I could do better than those guys who I was in competition with, and just ask questions and hang around. Shane Webke was the ultimate professional,
mate.
Ultimate professional.
It's crazy.
And he was the guy that he had the key to the gap.
Yes, he did.
Because he wanted to, all right, before we go to the gap in preseason, I want to run it at least 5 times so then I know that I'll keep up with the skinny backs.
Mate.
While, the big boys are at the back. Hodjo was the king of the gap.
Mate, he's a king.
You know what Hodjo used to do at the gap? Hodjo used to be that, I'm a leader. I'm going to lead, but I'm going to lead from the back. I'm going to encourage these big boys. Yeah. He'd be like patting you on the, come on, Sammy, you can get up this hill. I was like, bruh, you should be out the front. Get up there. But hey, it worked for him,
mate.
He got through jogging, encouraging other players. So, but yeah, going back to Shane Webke, I learned so much of him. He used to have, I don't know if he ever called it the FRU, but he should have, the Front Rowers Union. But we used to go there every Sunday. We went to the gap to make sure that everyone could run in under 40 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
And then sometimes we'd meet at the club and we'd go and run a few of the hills. And this was before training. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
And then you saw him on the field, and he was, I want tackle 1 and I want tackle 3.
Yeah.
And you get out of my fucking way. And if you ever took his hit-ups, he would not be happy at all.
Not at all.
But I learned from those guys. I learned how to be humble and respectful from Petro. The way that if Petro wanted to turn it on,
oh man,
he could kill you,
literally.
But then he'd apologise, and he'd probably sing at your funeral afterwards.
Yes.
So that's Petro.
Yeah.
So he was, and I had these guys around me that were great role models, and I think they really helped me throughout my career as well, massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
I mean, what a forward pack to learn off. Jeez.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I had some good teachers.
Oh, mate. Okay, so 2005 rolls around, and you score first try, which is, always great.
Yeah, against the Eels.
And so, I've spoken about it a little bit, but you would have a much better view of this because, you were closer to a regular first grader than I was. But what changed 2005 into 2006 that saw you guys win that comp?
There's so much that goes into winning a comp. That's the thing. I can even remember we went through a bad patch in that year. I think we lost 5 or 6 straight leading into coming towards the end of the season. But there was a whole group of us that got to play State of Origin that year. I'm trying to think if Carmichael may have debuted State of Origin that year. Myself, Staggy. So that was that big stage, which some of the younger guys needed to really take their game to that next level. So that helped that young crew that was coming through. And then I just think luck. We didn't have a lot of injuries. A little bit more experience of those young guys, so our balance was right. And I can remember throughout that whole final series, it was almost like we lived in Sydney all together.
Yeah, wow.
So we were based at the Swiss Grand back in the day
Fancy.
at Bondi, and Wayne used to always love staying near a beach because on your days off, he wants you to go out and do stuff. He wants you to be down the beach swimming, having a coffee, spending time with him. And I think that really helped us out too. So we spent a lot of time at Bondi Beach, enjoying each other's company. Like literally, we'd duck back home to Brisbane for a couple of days. It's like you did your washing, you got some new clothes, and you went back again.
Yeah.
But there was a really great connection, and again that balance of guys like Petro, Thorny, Webby,
Tunza,
the Chin, and then those other young guys. You had Casey Maguire. You look at a guy like Shane Perry who played in that team.
Yeah.
And like he was a toiler.
Yeah.
And he knew his job for the team, and he did his. And I think that youth and experience of some of those, that youth and experience balance was just on that year, and it was just like, well, now's your chance, and if you miss it, you miss it.
Yeah. And so leading into, do you remember from your perspective, what was the army camp like that year?
That was the worst.
That was the craziest fucking shit I've ever been a part of.
Oh yeah.
And Dean Benton came in as well.
We were part of So we changed the whole way we prepared that year. We had we had a new S&C, and he flogged us that year.
Yeah.
But the army camp at the start of the year.
Oh man!
Did you come from schoolies as well?
No, I didn't come from schoolies. I wasn't supposed to be part of it. But Ivan rang me up and told me it was just going to be bonding.
Yeah.
And because Brett Seymour got a shot at Rico, so they had one spot.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
I know Darbs came from.
He would come from school. Probably.
He came from school just because he repeated.
Yeah, he repeated.
Yeah. But I can remember that camp was like, all right, boys, we're going up the Sunshine Coast. Bring your golf clubs, surfboards, whatever you want. It's going to be awesome. So like boys are rolling up with like surfboards, like golf clubs, like boardies. Big bags. Yeah. Boardies back in those days. No budgie smugglers.
No budgie.
Yeah. And we literally rocked up to the HQ at Red Hill there, and it's just like these army dudes just started yelling at us, "Get on the field, take your clothes off." I was like, "Bro, we just met. Come on." Stripped down to like our jocks on the field, and we're putting all this army gear on, and we're like, "What the fuck is happening?" And it was a 6-dayer.
Oh, mate.
It was 6 days, and I think. And like all army camps, the first 2 days they're made to break you. Yeah. And we were pushing trailers. We were up and down hills. There was midnight PT. There was I remember the night where we did nighttime orienteering, and the beast Greg Eastwood. He's like, I'm not doing it. Why? He goes, I'm allergic. And the guy goes, allergic to what? He goes, whatever's in there. And like, it was probably the easiest nighttime orienteering I've ever done, because essentially, like, you can see all the glow sticks. So you just had to get a rough idea, and you just walked around in that direction. Yeah. But then like they'd like wake us up in the middle of the night. Yeah. Oh, there's a fire, boys. We've got to get out. We've got to change camp locations. And like they throw these stun grenades and stuff. And then they'd leave rubbish on the ground and then pretend that we left it on the ground.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
We had to do abseiling. I remember the abseiling day was like, all right, boys, if everyone abseils down backwards and forward, we'll give you some real food. We're like, because we had all the ration packs.
Yeah, and we killed those chickens.
And that's when we had to kill the chickens. Yeah. So Benny Hennett and I, we killed these chickens. Rest in peace, chickens. But then we had nothing to cook it. Like then we ended up boiling them in the pot, and they were like, and they were layers too, so like they had no meat on them at all.
No, they were,
So it was a hectic army camp. I remember Hodjo like wanting to go home day one. He's like, I'm gonna walk. I can hear the highway. I'm just gonna walk to the highway, and I don't care. I was like, bro, no one's picking up a black fella on the highway. Sorry, bro. But at the end of it, it was like the greatest thing we could do. We went through like huge adversity through that camp. I remember, Benny Hanna getting choked out by some army guy. Remember like the skirmish stuff we did?
Yeah. Remember the boxing ring we had to get into? And Neville knocked that dude out?
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty hectic camp, and it definitely set up like a resilience for what was a massive year for us.
Yeah. And so rolling into finals, I mean, that famous Bulldogs game, like such an incredible comeback from you boys. What do you remember from the final series?
Well, you talk about myths and legends and GST on stories. Like, in all honesty, I can't remember Mace walking up the tunnel, yahooing and saying what he said.
No way.
I do remember him yahooing. I didn't hear clearly what he said, but I ran with it. And even if Shane Webke made it up, even if he made that shit up, what a thing to make up.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely fired us up. We got out there in the second half, and we were a different team.
Yeah.
Totally different team. And, like, the Bulldogs were a gun team.
Yeah.
They were a good team, and, like, they should have beat us in that game. Barrow scores that freakish try.
Mate. Were you on the bench or on the field at that stage?
I think I was on the bench at that point. But I think he was offside because you know how like when he was running back and then Hodjo was running through and it wasn't, you know, that weird rule where you can't support. Yeah. So I don't know. We might have to look back at that one.
Get the tape.
Yeah, we'll get the tape.
Get the tape.
But yeah, his effort to kind of score that try, and that was like, all right, we're on here.
Yeah.
We kind of mixed things up in that game too, having Hodjo play fullback and Carmichael on the wing and mixing things up. Yeah, it was like that was the springboard moment to go, no one can beat us at that point. So
yeah. Incredible game. Okay, so finals week rolls around and you're rolling into, Storm, heavy favourites, incredible side. What was that week like for you as a young fella? What, 21, 22?
Yeah, we played the Storm under the salary cap that year. Yeah.
They just happened to be over it
later on. Yeah. Like such a great week. Again, I talked about that connection that we had. Like spending all that time together as a team was so good. And probably like in hindsight, looking back, probably took that week for granted.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until 2015 I make another grand final, but that week was like I was on the ride, and I absolutely was loving the ride, and the way we prepared and everything that we did that week was like we're on. From you holding the pads.
Yeah, it was all from me holding the pads, bro. One of the best pad holes in the game.
Exactly. It's tough to hold the pads. Yeah, mate.
Especially when you're hungover.
At the Sanford Stags, like some of the boys, I'm like, you got to hold it. If I'm going to tackle you, but. Yeah, it's like an incredible week, and I wish that someone at that point in time told me to take my time, sit back, enjoy it, soak it in, because it does. It just flies by, and you get to the game. It's such a long day.
Yeah, you're just sitting there.
You're sitting there, and you're trying not to think about the game, but you're thinking about the game. You don't want to play the game in your head, but you're playing it in your head. And if this happens, and I do this, and I do that, and I can just remember getting out there and like, we're on. No one's going to beat us.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And when Lockie puts that field goal over and you basically seal it.
Game, set, match. It feels like that. It was like hugs and high fives all around.
Because underdogs heading into a grand final too. It's not like the favourites won or anything.
Nah. And I think the best part about that grand final week too was there was no Sydney teams in it, which was brilliant. And it's like I've been a part of a little bit of history there. That 06 grand final, having Melbourne and Brisbane playing it, two outside of Sydney teams. 2015, two Queensland teams playing in a grand final.
Yeah.
It's so good to look back now and go, geez, I was part of bloody history there.
Yeah. Was there anything you remember, like Wayne said to you guys in that week that stands out for you, like that calmed you down or got you together?
No, well, I think Wayne was always, and when it came to playing finals footy, Wayne, like, he totally flipped the script. Like, finals footy was all, we were having fun at training. We were playing games.
Yeah, wow.
We were, playing offside touch. We were playing the dropout game, playing Nance ball, all those games that Wayne absolutely loved. And it was like, well, this is your reward for getting here.
Yeah, okay.
We've got 10 minutes at the end. We want to nail some shape, but like at the start of it, let's have some fun. Let's enjoy our time. Let's enjoy being here.
Yeah.
Because we've worked our ass off to get here to this point. Well done.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back.
And match fitness is not an issue because you're
Not
already
at all.
at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all. So like, you know, even in the gym's fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Good old Dan.
It's like Dan Baker's like, he relaxed a little bit. You know, he wasn't slapping you on the chest when you're doing bench press now. You know, he wasn't telling you to put your balls on the table when you're doing your power cleans.
Or your balls touch the ground when you do a squat.
Yeah, exactly. Just because he wore no undies in the gym.
Balls
that
to the
was,
floor.
That was so awkward when he was spotting you.
Bro, he had the worst protein farts I've ever smelled in my life.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
because he used to eat those growling dog
Oh
bars.
my
Remember the growling dog bars?
God, bro.
And like, it was almost a jaw workout for
Oh, and he'd rock up in that little red car.
you. Yep.
Mate, he's such a good
He was
coach.
smart.
Yeah.
He was so smart.
He was so good at getting you pumped for weights, even if you were just like, oh, zombie.
Done.
He was great. I wonder what he's doing now. Do you know? Have you seen him in a while?
I haven't seen him for ages, but like so highly respected in that whole weightlifting community.
Yeah,
like
100%.
there is,
He's written books in that, and like,
yeah. So they use him for like university studies and stuff like that.
I
Some of
loved
the
him.
work that he's done, but yeah, I loved him too.
yeah, he's so good. So 2006 as well. You obviously make your Origin debut. Do
Yeah.
you remember where you were when you got the call, or how it happened?
I thought it was gammon. Got me. Yeah. But no, like, yeah, literally just at home, chilling. Unknown number calls me. Big Malcolm on the other end, and I didn't know what to do. Like cry, laugh, scream like a 10-year-old girl. Like a whole load of different emotions. Because, you know, I was, again, like talking about my early career as a young kid, like Queensland was my pinnacle as a kid. Like I just wanted to make a Queensland team, like a kid from Townsville. I just wanted the tracksuit.
Yeah.
That's all you want. You just want the tracksuit.
The gear.
And I was just like, I'm about to represent Queensland in the state of origin. Like I was lucky enough as a 17-year-old that was my first ever state of origin. I went and watched because I played before it.
Yep.
And I was like, from that point, I was like, oh, this is all time. I was like lucky enough to watch Billy Slater's epic try.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the rafters watching Mango's intercept try,
Oh,
and
mate.
like just wanting to play Origin from that point. And I had my 21st birthday in Origin camp. Lockie may or may not have split his head that night, falling off a bar, but that happens. It was
Cyclone.
tackle practice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
we were
course.
tackling.
Yeah.
You got a stray elbow. It happens. But it was so good. And the best part about that year too is I didn't know any other Queensland coach but Mal pretty much. He came in, and from what he was pushing and preaching in camp, he was all about the history. He was all about the legacy and telling the story of the guys that had come before. And I think as an Origin coach, you need to have an aura about you. You need to have like that's a guy I idolize. That's a god right there. And I think that's what Billy has now with the state of Origin squad that he's got. But you know, for Mal, it was just like I loved Mal.
Yeah.
Like he was the man.
Yeah.
And like for him to give me a crack, and it was a kind of a weird series. We lost the first game by 1 point, and then there was a couple of guys that didn't get re-picked for game 2. I was lucky enough to get picked for game 2. Played in game 2 at Suncorp. We win, and then we go down to Melbourne, and like that was foreign. That was so foreign. Like playing on a
Round.
on an oval.
Yeah.
In a roofed stadium, in a neutral ground was so weird and foreign. And I can still remember I was on the bench at that point in time. Big Charlie Webb right next to me.
Yeah.
Lockie scores that try, and it's just like, holy wow. And it's like that try's talked about a fair bit.
Yeah.
that Lockie try, but the best try in that game happened the try before, which was Tayday's try.
Yes.
Like JT, like to get through the gap, find Thaiday. Thaiday runs around the outside and scores that try. Like, go back and watch that try.
Hectic. It's hectic.
And like he had wheels, brother
mate.
Tate.
He
He
was
had
quick.
wheels.
Bloody oath he was.
And like that was the moment that like changed that game for us. And that was the moment like Lockie's like, all right, boys, let's just go back to doing what we do best. Let's get through our sets. Let's kick chase. Let's put the pressure on them. Let's get through our sets, kick chase, put the pressure on them. And then the pressure just like, yeah, the cookie crumbled.
Yes, it did.
And Lockie was there to pick up the crumbs, and he scores a try, and probably like in 2023 has to come off the field for HIA because tons of knocks.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, mate. And like, I guess, how do you describe that? You know, Lockie goes over, you're a part of, you know, the winning side, and at the time you wouldn't have known it, but something incredible was about to begin.
Like that wasn't even. We weren't even on the starters blocks at that point in time to what we did, like, you know, for the splash that we made eventually. But yeah, there was so much pressure on so many players throughout that whole series. You know, there's been plenty of people that have spoken about, you know, those big dogs were told, you know, Petro, Pricey and Lockie, this could be your last crack in a maroon jersey. If nothing happens, you could be going, you know, see you later. And then you look, those guys end up being there for the next how many years in a dominant team, no question marks at all.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think that you know, the old pressure makes diamonds. Yeah. There's 3 rocks right there.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
100%. And so, so that year you also get selected later in the Year 4 Nations?
Yeah, I think I play like 5 minutes or something for Australia.
Hey, man,
Still got out there.
Me. 5 more minutes of me.
Actually, Cam Smith and I debuted in the same game for
No
Australia.
way.
There you go. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were when you got the call for that?
I was on the plane on the way home, and we were on the way back from after the GF. Hung bung.
Oh, mate. Holy.
And I think it was Trad McLean, old media
Oh,
manager.
there
Tradley.
we go. Tradley.
Yeah, he come and told me.
Tragedy.
So, yeah, tragedy. And the best part about it was that on the plane was my now wife, Rachel.
Yeah, wow.
My mum and my older brother.
Oh, mate.
So, yeah.
That's mad.
So it's like that was a pretty cool moment because they were there to share it with me at that point in time. I smelt like a brewery, but yeah, I was surprised Mum even gave me a hug, to be honest.
Mate,
yeah,
almost be
I was
offended if you didn't. And then, you know, in regards to, you know, that 8 in a row, what stands out for you the most from that 8 in a row? Like, is there a series that really stands out for you where, you know, something special happened, or?
You know, the best part about that whole 8 in a row was I call it a family reunion. Every time we came into camp.
Yeah, wow.
And we just we rolled into the same shit, literally. I don't like thinking back. I don't think we changed the names of our plays. We didn't change our plays.
Why?
We had the same stuff. It was like, we get to this post, we're going to go left for an arty, like, which was a play that we had. And then, you know, it was like, all right, we're going to get all the way over to that left, and then GI's going fishing.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, GI would get the ball, he'd just like creep across the field, find a hole.
Yeah.
And then you just, like, all right, boys, pick a hole. You either run through the gap or, you know, GI scores himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we didn't change anything. But it's like they almost changed their team so much that it's just like they forgot what we were doing out there on the field.
That's crazy.
But just the friendship and bond that like we all made throughout that period was absolutely amazing. So for me, I go into Origin camp now not to see the players, but to see the guys I played with.
Yeah.
So like I was pretty lucky this year. I went into Origin camp and did a couple of interviews with a few of the boys, but I literally went there because I wanted to see Nate, I wanted to see JT, I wanted to see Cam, I wanted to see Billy. Like those guys that I played so many years with. Like I just wanted to go again. That's that family reunion, and camps were towards. When we were right in the thick of things, camps were so much fun.
Yeah.
Like we'd have little like competitions going here. Like there was like the FIFA guys who would like be playing PlayStation against one another, trying to who was the big dog of that. Yeah. We'd have the little card crew.
Yeah.
We'd have the golfers. Like you'd have all these different guys, but like we would all like split off into those groups, but we'd all be back together dinner time, talking smack. It was like a real brotherhood.
Yeah. I mean, just probably never be done again.
And I look at that, and the hardest part is when you're in the thick of things, you just kind of roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And you don't until you finish. You look back at it, and like now I go and talk to kids in schools, and I say that I'm one of the lucky ones. And I say that because like not everyone makes it.
Yeah.
Like as many kids that are out there that want to become a professional rugby league player, like it's tough. It's hard. There's a lot of sacrifices. Like I missed my brother's weddings because they were on the weekend when footy was on.
Wow.
Like it's just like I've missed 21st. I've missed funerals. I've missed birthdays. I've missed so many things, and like through sacrificing to do this one thing and this one goal. I'm unsure what the stats are at the moment, but it's not great. I think it's like less than a season as an average NRL career. It's one run tackle, one Jarrell Yayi, one jump, land. There's your career over, done.
Yeah.
So for me to play 304 games for the Broncos, 32 for Australia, 29 for Queensland, 3 games for Indigenous All Stars. Lucky. So damn lucky.
And speaking of the Indigenous All Stars, obviously you're part of the inaugural side.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Oh, that was all time.
Yeah.
That was all time. And I think throughout different friendship groups and stuff like that, you always try and, like you and I would mention it before, imagine Cyril Connell's all-time team. Imagine picking that. Right. And this is probably a conversation that throughout a lot of Indigenous communities, like imagine what's the best Indigenous team ever. Yeah. If we could pick it right now, how cool would that be? And like you can do it for, what's our best Pacifica team that we could ever pick? Wow, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Like imagine that team. That'd be all time. And I love the concept and I love seeing how it's grown and developed, and I love what it is now. I think the Indigenous All Stars versus the Māori All Stars is absolutely incredible because it's as close to tribal warfare as you can get, but on a rugby league field. And I think also, the Indigenous All Stars getting that chance and opportunity to go to New Zealand last year, they would have learned so much because I think the way that the New Zealand public really embrace that Māori culture over there. Like they speak language in their national anthem. Yeah, they speak language at school. We have so many different language groups here within Australia, but we can also learn on how much they embrace their culture over there. Yeah, and like it's not frowned upon. It's not marginalised or pushed down. So I think that was absolutely brilliant that they got that chance, but. To be a part of that first one, it was all time.
And camp would have been hectic.
Camp was hectic. Yeah, you got to think. Dell's in camp. He scores the first try. Yeah, and just to see, especially Presto, like his pride and passion with it all, to see that dream of his come true was huge. And so,
let's fast. Actually, I want to talk to you about what was it like as a senior player. Darren Lockyer retires, and then you took over the captaincy when Lockyer retired.
Holy wow, yeah.
So I mean, the pressure from that. First of all, what was it like when Lockyer retired? Yeah, and then obviously Wayne comes to you. Oh, was Wayne the club? No, it would have been someone else.
No, Hook was there.
Hook, you become captain. What was that whole process like for you? You would have been about 26, 27 at this stage.
Yeah, still kind of youngish, really. But I must have been good because they replaced me with 2. So yeah. They did twice the firepower to replace me. But yeah, it was hard, 100%. And I think kind of with that transition of Wayne kind of moving on and moving out and Lockie retiring, I think a lot of that support structure was gone as well. I like, would I have been the captain for the rest of my career if Wayne was at the club? I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I that was something I really struggled with, was having a little bit more support around me. And I remember going around Hook's house and having a conversation with him about him wanting me to kind of, maybe this is not the right choice, and maybe we need to move in a different direction if we're going to go better as a team. Because I kind of got lost in my captaincy, thinking I had to do everything when I was selected as a captain, because I had an ability to lighten the mood around a training paddock, but then also led by example on the field. See, I thought that I had to be the guy that went and talked to everyone. I thought I had to be the guy that was doing the inspirational speech before the game. I thought I had to be the guy that I'll sit down with you after a game, we'll go through some vision and like, what could you have done better? That wasn't my job. I'm trying to be a coach. I'm trying to be a motivational speaker. I just needed to be Sam Thaiday at that point in time. And I just needed to be the best version of myself, and that was enough. That would have been enough. And then, went around Hook's place, and I don't trust anyone now that offers me instant coffee, because he goes, "You want a coffee?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have a coffee." Instant coffee. I was like, "Damn, all right." So from now on, if you offer me instant coffee, I say no, and I'll walk out of the room.
No, thank you, sir. No, thank you.
But no, it was a tough decision for him to make as well, and like it's a massive honor. I got to, even though it wasn't for a long time, I still, throughout my career, got to captain the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not a lot of people can say they've done that, will ever do that. So, happy that I got the chance. Would have loved a little bit more support, but hey, all good. Just keep rolling with the punches.
And so, Hook comes in, and you guys have okay years, and then, some not so good years. And then Wayne obviously comes back to the club. What was that whole process like? And, did you feel excitement? Did you feel like, okay, we can get back to where we were, or what was it like?
Bit of a roller coaster throughout that whole period.
Yeah.
And I only really knew Wayne for a majority of my club career. So I was super pumped to see him back. And I think just the professionalism that he brought back. Ivan was there, and you also had Hook as well. But you got to think they were both pretty young coaches when it came to their NRL careers. Wayne, he had the blueprint. He knew what it was, and he just brought that back when he came back to the Bronx. A couple of key signings as well really helped out the team, and we roll into a grand final in 2015 off the back of what Wayne brought in with that blueprint.
Yeah. And so that 2015 season, you roll into the grand final and had such an incredible year. Milford killing it, Benny Hunt killing it. Such an honour, first of all, to be part of that two Queensland sides. But walk us through the game. There to be won, in my opinion, and then just somehow, some way.
You can go back and look at that game and all the different moments throughout it, and there's so many super highlights. In all honesty, never watched it.
Really?
Never watched it.
Tell us why.
Because there's the football head in me that would pick it apart and pick apart my own game. Because I'm sure at some point there's a moment in there where do I push harder?
Yeah.
Do I run harder? Can I charge that? Can I charge the kick down?
Yeah.
I'm at marker. Can I get there?
Yeah.
Without breaking JT's leg, can I dive and block the kick?
Yeah.
Can I override Ben Hunt and catch the ball and run as a, can I, I think big Aussie Jim scored a try and he bumped me.
Yeah.
Can I make that tackle?
Yeah.
Can I push harder on my kick chase and tackle JT before he passes the ball out to Morgo? There's all those things.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I don't want to watch it. but I can't change it. It wasn't our turn.
Yeah.
It just wasn't our turn. I look at it as now as like I'm a part of history, and like I do a lot of guest speaking now, and I always give JT shit. And I always say JT can't be an immortal because he had a chance and opportunity to do what every kid wanted to do. Kick a goal from the sideline to win a grand final, and he missed. And I say it jokingly because I know that, first and foremost, that absolutely killed him.
Yeah.
And I've heard him speak about it too. He totally messed up his whole routine because he felt the pressure. For someone that has ice in his veins, he felt the pressure at that moment. But if there's ever a vote that goes to voting him as an immortal, I'll vote 1,000 times because I think he is, and the way that he trained and he prepared. I was his roomie for so long. I knew how hard he worked to be the player that he was. But I can't take that moment away from him, and you can't live your life in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Yeah.
If I did it, I would have done it in the game, and I didn't. So I think that's why it's hard for me to. It would be hard for me to ever watch it. And hey, mate, maybe we can sit down and watch it on this potty.
We'll watch
something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of it was not our turn. We did everything we could to get there and give ourselves a chance to win it. We just didn't.
When Felt went over for the try, did you feel obviously the momentum shifted, but what was the chat like in the huddle? Was it talking about, boys, let's not let the momentum win, beat us here? What was it?
It was such a weird feeling. Yeah. You're in your body, but you're not in your body.
It's still happening.
Yeah. It's so weird to describe that feeling at that point in time. And then you almost celebrate JT missing because, oh shit, we still got a crack here.
Yeah.
And then I think being so close to Benny when he drops the ball off the kickoff too, it's just like, damn, all right, what's the next job?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my mindset went. And it was the same thing after JT missing the kick. It's like, oh, what's the next job?
Yeah.
We have to move on. What's next? And I think sometimes as a footy player, you need to have a memory of a goldfish. You just got to
100%.
literally, all right, I've forgotten about it. I got to move on. I can't dwell on that.
Yeah.
And, I felt so much for Benny after that GF. It wasn't Benny's fault.
No
You
way.
go through, look through that whole game. There's moments through that whole game where something's happened where someone could have done something better.
Yeah.
And I love seeing where Benny is now and what he's done. I'm so proud and pumped that he got to 300 games in the NRL. I'm glad he's had Origin success, Australian success. Who knows? Get him back to the Broncos next year, play dummy half, and you can win a grand final.
Surely.
Something. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Okay, so obviously, you retire in 2018, one of the greatest retirements of all time, speeches.
Yeah.
What gave you the idea to dress as an old man in retirement?
Mate, I was sick and tired of seeing the boring suits and polo shirts at a presser, mate. And I had a conversation with old tragedy, Trad McLean. And I said, mate, I want to do something different. And he goes, I said, you just got to roll with the punches and you just got to go with me on this. So I met a young lady at a Starlight gig, actually, and it was around Halloween, so we were painting up as zombies and stuff like that. And I think I ended up having devil horns that day. And we, were doing some stuff throughout the hospital and visiting kids and, like a trick or treat essentially.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I've got a weird random idea of doing this. And she goes, yeah, I can do that. I was like, oh, sweet, give me your card. So I got her business card and we ended up, it was a long morning getting all that makeup done. It was a glimpse into the future, in all honesty. I looked like my dad. But yeah, I just wanted to do something different. So, dressing up as an old man, retiring at a retirement village was pretty cool. I haven't seen anyone do anything different or outlandish since that point in time. But I encourage the boys to do it.
Have a bit of fun.
Yeah, have some fun with it because it's your moment.
Yeah.
Don't do a Buddy Franklin and put it out there on the gram. Like, buddy, mate,
Something
do something different.
Come on, Bruss.
Yeah.
What was the decision to retire? Like, what pushed it the most? Was it, your body was not handling it, you were over it? Like, what was the reason for it?
A bit of column A, bit of column B. I think you can get to a point in your career where you don't want to push as hard anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's probably when you know. It's like when the warrior doesn't want to go on the hunt anymore. I couldn't be bothered hunting.
Yeah.
I played pretty hard throughout my younger years. Look at the vision. There wasn't a lot of swerving or stepping going on. There's a lot of straight line stuff. But yeah, that was probably the hardest part was, and that's not fair to the guys there. So, I didn't want to train hard. I didn't want to do the extras. I guess it's like when those things start happening and occurring, and that's where your mindset is. You can't play NRL anymore,
especially like a preseason as well when you need to find that extra gear in you.
And like you get looked after when you're a little bit older with a preseason. You don't have to go as hard. You're not doing a lot of turns. You're doing more straight line stuff.
Yeah.
You might have a cardio day where you're off your feet and you're maybe on a rower, and that's still hard work. But it's like, my axe wasn't sharp anymore, and I couldn't be bothered sharpening it. Not that I couldn't be bothered sharpening it. Like, it was hard to sharpen the axe.
Yeah, okay.
It was hard to get motivated to do that extra. You almost start becoming a bit of a coach yourself as a I found myself giving advice and more time to these younger guys that were coming through and not worrying about what I was doing.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, well, I'm not really practicing what I'm preaching myself.
Yeah.
So how can I expect this young guy to do what I'm telling him to do if I'm not willing to do it myself? So, there was that. There was a conversation with Wayne about, going on maybe another year, and just, I was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate. Fair career. Also, Dalian back rower, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Yeah, that was really good, actually. Yeah. It's always like super humbling to get individual awards. But those individual awards come from team efforts.
Yeah.
I also did get Broncos most improved 2 years in a row, so it must have been shit.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Jeez, how much you got to improve twice in a row.
Yeah, 2 years straight. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
I think that was one of those thoroughbreds awards.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mate, ask all the boys this. Favorite rapper of all time?
Oh, it's hard. Like I've gone through a journey with rappers. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What first came to mind?
What first came to mind?
Yeah.
Well, there's that old school era of Tupac and Biggie, and then when 50 hit the scene and Eminem, like they were all time, and then like you've got guys like Logic and J. Cole, who I absolutely love and are fire at the moment. So there's my top six, mate.
Yeah, top six.
And it's like I always ask people like, what's your top 5 ultimate concert, alive or dead?
Yeah, okay.
What would you go?
Yeah.
And like you can pick the venue, you can pick the lineup.
Yep.
And like even with that, for me, like I'm super eclectic in what I like and what I like listening to. So like, I would have like a Bob Marley there.
Yeah.
I'd also love to have like Prince.
Yeah.
Like a Jimi Hendrix. One of the best concerts I've been to was I saw Billy Joel.
Yeah, wow.
In Manchester. We were over in the UK for a tour. and we got to go and watch Billy Joel. And it was all time. It was like watching 3 concerts in one. He sat down. He started off like rock and roll. Was on the guitar, going hard, and then kind of mellowed out a little bit, and then sat down on the piano like the last bit of the concert. So it's 3 concerts in one.
So talented.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
So Simon Morant.
Okay.
Like, he was our go-to guy whenever we were in the UK on a tour.
Yeah.
Because he's got like a music promotion business as well. So like he organises all concerts and stuff. So when we were in the UK, going on some of those tours, I remember watching. We watched Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Like that. That was like myself, Nate Miles, JT. Cooper Cronk. We went and watched Billy Joel. We went and watched. I can't even. We went and watched Coldplay.
No way.
We went and watched Coldplay.
That'd be good live, I reckon.
We went and watched Coldplay at this theatre in London, and like there was probably 1,000 people in this theatre. That was it.
Really?
And we were up in this like mezzanine level, and like everyone was on their feet, clapping, dancing, singing. They broadcast it live, like this concert on BBC Radio. And at one point, I thought that like the mezzanine level was gonna like fall down.
No way.
Everyone was just up dancing, singing. Cooper Cronk was my little like crony when it came to the music.
He loved music, eh?
Yeah, loved his music, loved his concerts. But like the one that comes to mind the most is we went and watched Jessie J.
Yeah, Jessie J, yep.
And after the concert, Simon comes to us and goes, "Oh, boys, there's a bit of an after party." He goes, "It's not necessarily an after party. I run this little nightclub thing in a warehouse out in Manchester."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh, sweet. We're emus this week. Let's go."
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think who was there. Billy Slater, myself. I'm gonna say JT was there. Cooper Cronk was there, and maybe even Nate Miles. And like we all just pile into his Rangy, and we go to this warehouse party, and we're like, "Bro, is he gonna kill us?" Because we're like driving down like all these streets. There's like no one around, warehouse precinct. It's like, holy wow, this is scary. Like, do we really know this guy? Now, how has he made his money?
Yeah.
You know, is it getting rid of bodies? Is he going to like extort us? What's he going to do here? He's going to steal our passport. I didn't bring my passport. But like we turn around this corner and there's like people everywhere walking the streets, going to this warehouse party, and we're like, holy heck! We pull up to this back gate and let us in. There's a big security guard there. Simon, how you going? Yeah. Lets us in, and then we roll into this nightclub, and there's all these different rooms, different DJs, different kind of bars and stuff. And we're like, this is all time. And we're there for a while before he kind of takes us back. But like, we were all there, and like, he goes, "Hey boys, how good's this?" And he's like, "We have to repay you. We're all gonna come over here and play for Warrington Wolves." And we all put our hands in together and like 1, 2, 3 Wolves, and we're like walking around like making wolves and stuff like that. So there's like a handshake deal essentially that like Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, Sam Thaiday, Jonathan Thurston, we should have all played for the Warrington Wolves. Like if he wanted to,
he could enforce it.
I'm sure like he would have had good lawyer power too at that point in time. But imagine that Warrington Wolves team.
Oh my God.
Holy hell.
All for one night out.
All for one night out.
Oh, that's awesome. Favorite movie of all time?
Cool Runnings.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Like I grew up in a family household which was very, very sporty, but also like pretty religious as well. Yeah. So like we couldn't watch a lot of movies with swearing, sex scenes, even kissing.
Really?
Yeah, weird. But like, you know, it taught me some good morals and good standards. And so like Cool Runnings was like our jam. Yeah. Like we loved that. Like I can watch it now and like recite all the lines and stuff like that. And yeah,
mate. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it. And
did you just do a sneaky whistle then?
I know. What was going on there? I don't know it happens every now and then. It's in my tongue.
That was such an old man thing.
Need to get their teeth fixed.
Hey kids, how's it going? I got some lollies in the van.
Thanks for coming on, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Boom. Dunskies.